welcome. Over the Top Podcast. It's your boy Big Hank here with the crew. We have the Playmaker. How you doing today, Play?
Hey man, I'm doing great. Thanks.
All right, man. Enjoy. We also got RJ. What's going on, RJ?
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Also, last but not least, we have our millennial. What's up, Q?
This is not our second time trying to do this.
I know it's not. Oh, it's not last but not least. We also have the lady Toya. How you doing, Toya?
I am good. Good evening, gentlemen.
Man, we've been missing you. You ain't been around here for a while. Glad to have you back.
I missed y'all.
Okay, guys, we're gonna switch it up a little bit tonight. Try something new. Try something fresh. We're gonna start the night out with an Ask Toya. So, Toya, what you got going on tonight?
I got a dope ass Toya. So I'm gonna just jump right into it. So it says, "Dear Toya, with it being the 50th anniversary of hip hop and you being a hip hop head, I wanted to know what albums do you think are iconic from the last 50 years of hip hop? I know you will never tell us your top 5, but who do you think in this new generation could be added to the top 5 or 10 top 5 or top 10 list? With love, peace, and light, the hip hop guru."
What's your thoughts?
So, I actually, because we are at the 50th year anniversary of hip hop, I have been revisiting albums. And because I have a 10-year-old Wu-Tang head, and she'll just walk in and say a line sometimes, so I've been revisiting albums. It is hard to give a list of iconic albums. Like, that's hard, like, because I have a long list. But I'm gonna say my top 3 would be Ultra Mag, Netics, the Critical Beatdown. That's my number 1. And then I'm gonna say Life After Death.
Okay.
And The Miseducation of Glory.
Okay. Good selection. I'm going to Playmaker. Who your 3?
Definitely like the Lauryn Hill. I gotta throw in Rakim.
Okay.
Because Rakim kind of set the tone for rap after he dropped his album. And then after that, I'll have to go with Jay-Z. That's just kind of my personal favorite, Reasonable Doubt.
Okay. I'm gonna go with Q. Who the new you? Well, I'm going with Ron first. Then I'm gonna go with you, Q. Now I give my 2 cents. Who you got? Who you got, Ron? Who your top 3?
Favorite rapper of all time, Tupac Shakur. All Eyes on Me. I was sitting here thinking, I switched one of my thoughts. One of my favorite of all times, BDP, Criminal Minded, because my philosophy was my daggone favorite, one of my favorite songs forever.
Amen.
Nice,
And
That's on my list.
nice kid.
And I'm gonna say, even though it did a lot of bad in the culture, it was sonically something different, and that's Chronic. And honorable mention, Tribe Called Quest second album.
Nice. Quinn, I'm gonna say you for last because you gonna add the millennials to it, okay? But I'm gonna go with my 3 personal favorites. I'm gonna go with a Southern playlistic Cadillac Funky Music for Your Trunk, which is the Outkast's first album, which I think is a headbanger, especially for those who like to partake in the natural. That was a headbanger. The Blueprint, Jay-Z, the Blueprint, classic album. And I'm gonna stay with you, Ron. All Eyes on Me. Double CD, Tupac killed it. I honorable mentions Life or Death. I love Biggie. I just don't think we got the best of them. I think we got a great piece of them, but I think he had a lot still in the tank that he didn't quite touch into. So I mean, honorable mention on Biggie. So I'm going with you, Q. Who you got?
First off, the thing I'm gonna bring only the millennials in here. You would be correct because I haven't listened to anything from before I was born. But most of my favorite albums come from Kendrick Lamar, which is To Pimp a Butterfly is one of the best albums, period. Damn, which 2017, that won a Pulitzer. Good Kid, Mad City was good. Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which he dropped last year, was good. The album two albums I always go back and listen to like all the time is T Grizzly, Chapters in the Trenches, which is T Grizzly's a really like a rapper. He's what old people today would not want to listen to. But Chapters in the Trenches was him telling just a bunch of stories. So there's Jay Antoine, Robbery, which is a 5-part song. There's a song called Shakespeare. There's a song called Shakespeare. Let me get it correct. Shakespeare's Classic, which sad, made me cry the first time I listened to it.
Okay, that's one that down. How many you got? You don't name 20 of them. We didn't top the top 3 now.
So he gets so see. Look, Ron named more albums than I did. So don't even come at me.
I named 4.
So I only named 4. I said 4. 3
okay, I'm sorry.
Jeez.
I know.
So the second part of the question is, I would like who I would put in an iconic space for this new generation. Of course, it would be definitely Kendrick Lamar, and then J. Cole, of course. Those are probably the only 2 young people
that I know. I did. Hey man, I saw it, and we about to write it down. We got a couple more, but I saw it, and I think we got a minute or 2. I saw a interesting backlash on Chance the Rap. Not Chance the Rap. What's the guy name? I get things the guy name.
Drake.
Chance the Rapper is one. No, it wasn't Drake. It was another guy. I can't remember. I'm sorry. I get something like. But
tell the story.
It was one of your favorite. Something the Creator.
Oh, Tyler
the Creator.
Tyler the Creator.
Won a Grammy recently.
Tyler the Creator. Very interesting to see. What made me interesting about him is his variety. So if you were to ask about who would relate to in our times, similar to a Missy Elliott type of vibe, where it's a little strange, little out kilter.
I would say.
His years when he was married, dude was nice. Dude was nice.
Early Tyler was unhinged. He would just say whatever. Since he's gotten older and he's matured more, that's when he's gotten to his later music.
I do like Little Baby
and Idol. Both
I like Little Baby. Is it Little Baby? It's not The Baby. Which one is
Little Baby.
The one in Atlanta is Little Baby.
Little Baby.
I like
Little Baby.
I watched the whole documentary on him, and through COVID, through the pandemic, I like him.
He's smart, dude.
He's very smart. He's very intelligent. So I like
last
him.
word on your ask Toya. What's the last word?
So to the hip hop guru, I hope that you like our answers. I also want to put out there that they are doing iconic hip hop albums on WCM, which is with Angie Martinez, and right now they're doing Life After Death. And the one thing I wanted to point out was that Biggie never heard the albums, the songs fully produced. So like he rapped on certain songs with just the loop and not the full production. He never got to hear, and he never wrote down anything.
Right.
He did everything off the top of his head. And so that I am revisiting Life After Death so that I can, because lyrically it's just the storytelling of it is just amazing. It really is amazing. But check it out. They started on Saturday. Today they had the second episode. You can watch it on Roku or Facebook. I watch it on Facebook. It's really good. It's a really good finding out information about him while he was doing that album.
Definitely great.
Thank you guys. I appreciate y'all.
No problem, no problem. We're gonna start doing this on a weekly, guys. So try to add a little variety to what we do. So listen to this, guys. If you can control a man's thinking, you do not have to worry about his actions. When you determine what a man shall think, you don't have to worry to concern yourself about what he would do. If you make a man feel that he's inferior, you do not have to compel him to accept an inferior status, for he would see what he would seek it himself. That comes from Carter G. Wilson, guys, the Miseducation of Negro. And what we're gonna jump in a little bit tonight is on the topic of post-traumatic slave syndrome. And for our listeners, that wow, what is that, guys? You reaching? What the world we talking about going on here? But what post-traumatic slave syndrome is? It came to a theory. Published a book with Dr. D. Juru, famous. Look it up. Do your research behind it. But what it does, it addresses the impacts of generation slavery and how those impacts and stereotypes still impact how we, as our black community, move and get along through in society today. So what we're trying to do is at the end of this series, and it'll be a series, guys, so we'll go a little bit tonight, and we'll do a little bit throughout the months as we come forward. But our goal is to give you some tools or raise the consciousness of something that you may not think you got going on, but you do. Couple of three highlights we're going to talk about is the vacant esteem, the market propensity for anger and violent races, and society internalized, or racism. So we're gonna look at all three, but the first one, take a look at vacant esteem, which is aka your self-esteem. I read you only gonna be as good as how you feel about yourself. If you don't feel like you're nothing, you're not gonna be nothing. So that's kind of we want to dive in it with the crew. So that kind of gives you an overview of what we're looking to do. But we're gonna start with you, Q. What was your thoughts in 2023, the century removed from slavery or picking cotton? Do you think that PTSS is a real thing or have an impact for the 25-year-old and younger?
I would say yes. That PTSD, all that is a real thing and impact. However, we don't have conversations about that because there's how people in my generations, yes, there's more pressing things happening today that we don't have time to sit back and think, man, what happened centuries ago? That we're worried about killing each other, we're gun laws in general, people in Congress who are trying to make things underage or make comment underage. People down in Texas saying everyone got mental health issues, but then taking money away from mental health issues. A lot of people don't have time to sit and talk about that. And even though I think if we did have time to talk about it, don't like having a serious conversation. A lot of people don't want to have that conversation to even begin with, because we wouldn't have any of the research, because all the research is almost completely whitewashed. So when you gotta look for it, then you find people who are on the extreme side. Then we're like, whoa, hold on a second. I don't want to go that deep. Tell us what happened, not how we need to fight back for everything. We're worried about this right now. We just want to learn about it.
Okay, what's your thoughts on that, Playmaker?
I think it's very interesting. I think that I agree that there's a lot of pressing issues that need our attention and our energy, but I think sometimes you have to understand your core issues to address some of the things that you're dealing with externally. So I think it's a good answer, but I would say you also got to look at what's the core issue driving some of our issues in society today.
Anybody else? What's your
I
thought?
agree.
If socially and emotionally, if we were left unchecked and there weren't certain things like redlining and other issues that were in play to affect, because slavery or racism is ism is always directly correlated with business. So if we don't identify that it's correlated with business, then there's a monetary component which creates provision, which creates betterment in a community. But if you don't have that provision, if you don't have families together, and you essentially are dealing with a circumstance where those ills that will attack the family will attack it more virulently or more violently, and that's a big part of what's happening.
Okay, I'm gonna go with you, Tori. I mean, a little off the script, but you guys are talented, so you guys can follow me. A lot of things what Quinn was saying was very interesting. Whereas he said he got other stuff to worry about, as far as what's going on in Florida and DeSantis and the government and how I feel about how I feel about myself. But is it that overlooking some of the issues? I'm trying to get ahead or I'm trying to push forward. Isn't it overlooking some of the basic issues of PTSD? Because he worried about the abstract things. The abstract things is a reason. I think Gary tells a little bit is the reason the abstract things are happening is because the undercurrent of the PTSD. What do you think about that?
I think I agree with that. I think like when you don't look at the core, then you can't understand why everything is the way it is. Like Ron said, it's a business, it's economic. So when we're trying to fight to get ahead and struggle, we don't realize why we're still behind because of those ancestral curses. And we don't understand what is really going on if we're not looking at the core. But I get, what Q was saying, I get what he's saying because there are other issues. But these are ways too also to distract you from the problem. If we could heal from slavery, from the PTSD, because we all have it. And I don't know so much about those 25 and under, because I think our generation is trying to break the curse.
Yeah.
So in trying to break the curse, we're trying to heal ourselves and heal how we grew up. So that's another reason why they don't too much worry about what's going on right now. But in our parenting, probably, I know in mine, that we are trying to understand that this is what it is. This is why it is. We know our history. We know the facts. Even though they're trying to take that out of schools now, they're trying to, like he said, whitewash everything down. We still have to be able to understand why we are this way.
I definitely agree with you. Go ahead.
I think that's another reason why a lot of people in my generation are challenged letting it go. Was because they've seen generations before us try and do something about it, and they haven't been able to. But when you think about it now, the more that we're pushing forward and solving current things, and not saying not worrying about the past, but when you focus on current things, more things are changing. Focus on current things and more eyes are opening. And then when more eyes are opening, worry about current issues, a lot of people who are in charge are starting to misspeak, and then they're catching themselves in trouble. So instead of digging up the past, it's almost like we're focused on the future and letting the past kind of talk about itself. They were like, see, got you. That's what we were talking about before. Now let's keep pushing forward.
Okay, that's cool. I'm coming to you with this one. Some of the members of our community blame everyone else for their issues and trials and tribulations they have encountered. Is that an effect of PTSD or that a lack of accountability, motivation, or laziness?
It's a lack of accountability to a certain degree. But I'm gonna go in a different angle. I'm gonna ask y'all a question. In the African tradition, we always had griot. We had educators and leaders that essentially gave us the history. And a lot of us, I don't know about, I know probably Toya and I potentially went to neighborhood schools, right? But most of us went to schools where people knew our people. So there was a certain level of excellence and expectation that would combat certain things. What has happened over a period of time is the erosion of the family has led to those outside forces being able to attack us and mentally break us down. And so if you look at the lack of accountability, who generally, like if you look at the statistics that were posted recently with fathers being in the home and being present, fathers raising the child, and then the mom being a single mom, those statistics were essentially damning in the sense that, man, men afford children a level of accountability that may not necessarily be done in certain situations. Or a lot of our mental illness is directly framed around unhealthy thinking. Like, mental illness is nothing but insanitary thinking. It's filthy thinking.
You better take another direction, but I'm gonna ride down the street with you. I'm gonna turn the corner. I'm gonna ride. I'm gonna jump. I'm
skating with you, bro. You skating.
I'm gonna jump in the car with you. And I'm gonna come with Nancy with this one. So I'm gonna ask you a question. So you're right. So right, the broken up of the family home is one of the keys issues that we're going to today. But I would suggest you looking back at slavery days when you're talking about buck breaking, when you're talking about breaking the man from his family and dishonoring his family and bringing his family down. Next, is that a process? Is that a form of PTSS that we're dealing with at the broken home today because we used the women having to carry the load because of the slave master made the man inferior in his house?
Wow.
Yeah. Hey, Ron made the left. So now
Ron did it. Look at what you did, Ron.
I didn't mean for it to go that route.
This is where we at. We're here now. This is where we at.
Well, so when you say buck breaking, to me that's a little bit different, because buck breaking was taking the man and taking the strongest man out of the pack and breaking him down in front of everyone else, his family, and all the community, to make him, humiliate him, and to kind of make him seem weak in nature. I think what Ron is talking about is completely just removing him out of the household. I think both have the same type of effect, and I think you see that happening in different ways now. Instead of people getting beaten down in the street and tarred and feathered and even sexually abused, you see that people are being attacked by their pockets, being humiliated with lies and stuff on and social media and stuff like that. So I do think it is definitely happening, but I think Ron was actually going down a different path than the true essence of buck breaking.
Well, I understand, maybe buck breaking was a little too strong, but the process of
that was. I wasn't there.
We on this road now. Let me grab the wheel. Since we talking about that, like, when people today talk about traditional whatever, it's always about men going out and working and women staying in the house and cleaning. I mean, I think we are going backwards. That sounds like how slavery was to me. I think we are taking a step backwards. Let's get more modernized. If the woman want to go out and work, let them.
First of all, during slavery, women were in the fields working too, pregnant, having babies.
Yeah, they both did.
And that's nothing.
There was no woman in the house just doing this. But I get what you're saying. I get what you're saying though. I'm mad at y'all tonight.
But I'm just curious though. I mean, great point. I get what you're saying, and maybe I went to I jumped off the cliff sometime I do it. But it's the point of all this illness, I think, is a baseline for what we're talking about with PTSS, and trying to find a baseline or something that we can get over that hump. So I'm gonna come with you, guys.
Can I say something?
Go ahead.
Can I say one thing?
Go ahead.
Really, honestly, essentially what it is a lot of mental illness manifests to me directly related or correlates with economic viability. To me, when people have economic viability, they have resources. When they have resources, then they have the ability to correct situations that take place. Like, I remember a good friend of mine telling me, he said, man, a lot of times when people make choices, he said a lot of the people that are able to correct those choices, be they negative or bad, is directly related to liquidity. And so when I think about post-traumatic stress slave disorder, and I'm gonna try to link this thing to not lose Gary's vision. The The back end of it is the material aspect of it, the financial aspect of it. The other aspect of it is the mental impact that it has had on us. And so trying to compartmentalize that a lot of time and then move forward is essentially a hard thing, because you get conversations like what took place with Sister Ebony K. Williams this week and the statement that she made. And when you reflect on it from the perspective of how we view one another in the diaspora and how we look at each other, we don't always have the healthiest views of one another. And that's one of the core issues, but that's also stuff that we internalize. So we have to be a better projection of how we think of ourselves. So to win, for us to win in our communities, we have to honestly take accountability for how we feel about ourselves and reflect the energy that is the good energy that's in us outward, and we'll manifest better environments. That's my opinion.
I agree with that.
I'm gonna come with the next question.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
It does. Great point. So I'm coming to you with Elizabeth. Do you feel the old proverb that blacks gotta be twice as good to get half of what they have in the white community? Do you think the need to work twice as hard is helpful motivation tool to the young people, or do you think do you feel that it's harmful to have our kids define success based on comparing themselves to white kids? What's your thought?
I think it's actually harmful, and just because of the way what Ron said, economically. Now we are 60 years out of civil rights, and we are literally in the same race that we were in 60 years ago. So it's the fact that you say we have to work twice as hard and we have to do, be twice as better, but we're still underpaid. No matter how hard we work, they will always make more than us. No matter how much we do, they will always have more than us, because you have to think about gentrification. Everything that they have done was 20 years planned in advance.
Correct. Fact.
So when we think about the gentrification, so how are we looking at Charlotte right now, and everything's coming up, and that was done 20 years prior. We will never catch up if, like what Ron said, if we can't eternalize and be accountable and look at each other the way that we used to. When we had our own, and we did work hard, we had our own communities. I just found out today that Durham had a Black Wall Street. I did not know that.
Yeah,
I did not know that. I just, look, I was today years old. When I found that out. But just like all the other ones, what did they do? They put a whole highway in the middle, because they had to find a way for us not to win. We have to find ways for us to win. And it's not saying not to tell your kids not to work hard, but here's what I did one time. The girls, and I probably told the story before, they were playing golf, and they're the only two little Black girls out there, and they're all on the ground and doing this and doing that. And when they got in the car, I said, look at here, don't be out there acting a monkey in front of those white people. You have to stand. And they were doing literally what they were told to do by their coach. So I had to take a step back and say, my PTSD and how we were raised, and that perfection, trying to be perfect is hard.
How many times you go to the restaurant and you see, you see the Caucasian kids running out through the restaurant, jumping.
And your kids sitting right there.
You don't sit your behind down and act like you've been somewhere. But that pressure, I don't know how that
It's a lot of pressure.
I'll say first off, Black parents put a lot of pressure on their children. However, sometimes they put way too much pressure and then put the pressure in the wrong area. For example, if you know your child's athletic, for example, and they're coaching by schools, they got high C's, low B's, but they have a gift in one specific area. Why are you trying to push them oh, you gotta be able to do this too, and this too. If your child's a basketball player, let him play basketball. If he's a baseball player, let him play baseball. I saw a video earlier where a parent had his 12-month-old hitting baseball off a tee, and they tracked it over 2 years. I'm saying that to say, you know what your child's good at. Why are you trying to say, wow, well, Dad, what's your favorite line? What's your favorite thing to say? If you're gonna be a monkey, be
a gorilla. But I think that's done.
Some people can't be the gorilla. Sometimes.
But I think that's done, Quentin. I think that's done. I think parents do that to kids to kind of expose them to different things, and then you can decide, where you want to be.
So I'm gonna jump on
real quick. I'm gonna get your last word real quick. Go ahead.
I'm gonna jump on Q's bandwagon real quick because I cannot do math. I can't. In high school, they put me in honors classes, all honors, in the honors math, and I was failing. And my mother's like, no, you just being lazy. I'm passing everything but this class. And so finally, I took it upon myself to go to my counselor and have her move me down. She moved me down one level. I still couldn't get it. Went down another level. I still couldn't get it. Went down to the first level. It's taught a lot slower. I got it. Problem was, once I got it, the other Negroes in the class did. And so I started helping helping with the teacher, teach them. But the point is that we put that much pressure on our kids. And with Zoe, she's the same way. She has a processing problem in math. And so for me, what I say is, look at here. Don't compare yourself to your sister. Yes, she's a straight A student, this, that, and that. I say, if you bring me a hard working C, that's the best C you can ever get. Because I'll take that.
C better than a lion A any day. Give me something
work smarter, not harder. Teach them that work smarter, not harder.
Gary, thank you for doing the research on it, man. You got the last word tonight. But hey guys, we're gonna continue the conversation. Like I said, we got a series of PTSS. We're just trying to do it small bits at a time, because we definitely want you guys to really get what we can and maybe internalize it so that make it benefit you. And I think the only way to do that is break it up in small pieces. Those small pieces. Of course, we got the Facebook page. Before you do it, Facebook, you got any comments or questions, throw it on the Facebook page. But Nesbitt, thank you for the research. Give a little overview, and you got the last word on PTSS tonight.
So I just want to connect a couple of dots, because I think we kind of went a lot of different places. So when we were talking about the bulk breaking, if you compare that into the violence we see with the police and how that makes you feel once you see it happen over and over and over again, that's seeing that over and over again and feeling that if I'm riding around, I can become a victim just that easily. Right. That's part of that PTSS.
And if my wife, and if you beat me up, my wife don't look favorable on me because the white man just beat the mess out you. So how can I respect you? Can respect them? But continue.
Well, not even that, to the extreme that your life is in danger driving while black. I mean, that whole concept is really a PTSS thing. It's real for some people, but because you see it so often, you carry that every time you get behind the wheel. So that's an example. An example of we were talking about, was always talking about talking about her kids in the golf. It's passing down something, but realizing that, oh, this is not what I need to be passing down, and correcting it. So she did the self-correction herself. But if she didn't do that self-correction, then that would have just been something that would have just been going on for another generation and another generation. So that's why I just wanted to just point out those two things that are really symptoms of PTSS and how they are impacting us today.
Okay, guys, great information. Like I said, we're gonna continue the conversation. We just wanted to kind of try and do a little something different, give you bite size instead of trying to stuff everything in one time. We're gonna try something. We got a story of the week, man. This is kind of a little funny. I'm just gonna read it over and get the crowds, get the panel opinion. So, Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, been named
Dwayne Johnson.
Dwayne The Rock Johnson. I'm sorry. Dwayne The Rock Johnson was named in a $3 billion kidnapping lawsuit. And now look, he's facing charges. craziness. So look at this. So Tanisha Burgess, also known as who? Quinn? Who was the person? Raka?
She was Raka Khan, former TNA and WWE diva. Not superstar. They weren't superstars yet. They were divas. That was the dark ages of wrestling. Well, dark ages of women's wrestling.
Right. So she's looking for a $3 billion lawsuit. And look at the people who she named now. And this is what I thought was the story of the week. I'm looking at the names, and I'm gonna see how it go over. So the lawsuit names are multiple wrestlers, including The Rock, sports stars, business, and even the FBI. Her complaint mostly was of which is made up of those being sued, alleged that these names were to conspire to kidnap her children. Some other names in this lawsuit is the state of Texas, the El Paso Child Protective Services, the Los Cruces, New Mexico Police Department, the NYPD, the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children, New York ACS, the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated, the police. So this, I mean, look at these names, man. New York Bank of America, Home Depot. Guys, it just looking for attention, or this was just a bunch of nonsense. Anybody, I don't care who talk about it.
I think she threw Jesus and the cross and all his Israelites in there too. So I think she was just going at everybody that she used. Since she used to work in that reservation, probably something happened. Now, was that something?
Did she get her kids taken away? Were her kids taken away?
No, but at the end of the story, no, she said she just suing them, and it was a conspiracy theory. Is that
Did they hit the head too many times?
around that time, especially in TNA, probably.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do you think about that, Ronald? You in mental health? Where that fall?
She on that stuff.
It sounds kind of like she probably has a little bit of head trauma relative to the things that she's dealing with, and then she is not necessarily in that right space to make a complaint, because that is a broad lawsuit. I don't even know nobody that's affiliated or that's a part of any of these wrestling organizations that has ever said they were, a member of Omega Psi Phi, which is an odd ad. She's reaching.
I'll say if it comes out that's true, I'll apologize. The Rock did something crazy, it's true. Oh, my bad. Hey, I'll be first one to apologize. Until then,
you got to say about it. You got to say about it before we close out.
Yeah, I will say, and this is really for future. This is the danger of social media and giving people a platform to communicate stuff. As I was preparing for this segment, I was trying to find information because I didn't hear about it on the nightly news or anything like that. But I found all of these small little chat rooms that were kind of talking about it, keeping it going. And I think that's where you really get into the danger of someone like The Rock having to protect his assets over nonsense because somebody may take it to the full extreme.
Well, that's the word, guys. Hey, great show, man. And again, may your next move be the game changer. Good night.